You can increase your revenue year over year with just 4 steps. It's super easy. It's like playing chess. This is the video on how to defeat your opponent in 4 moves, but the business version. How to increase your revenue in just 4 moves. This is something I do in my business constantly. I do it throughout the year, and at the beginning of the year, I do it again. So this is what it is. I have a lot of clients, coaching clients that'll say, I made $1 million last year. I want to go to 1.5 million. Or I made half a million last year and I want to go to 1,000. Some of them say I want to go from 4 million to 6 million. There's one way to do it. No matter what type of business you have, no matter what type of revenue you have, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. I'm going to give you an example of an HVAC company. If you own a different type of company, just follow along. Okay. In this example, when I show you the 4 moves, I'm going to take a couple things into play. I'm going to have to throw some numbers in there just for an example. So we're going to assume a company has an $800 average ticket and they did $1 million last year and they want to do 1.7. So they want to add 700,000. Now, this is what you have to know if you're going to do this exercise, if you're going to grow your revenue. You have to know a couple things. Number one, you have to know how much money would you make typically if you didn't change anything. That's going to be your base revenue. In this example, let's say this company makes $1 million every year. All right. Now their goal for the next year is 1.7. So that additional 700,000, that's going to be called revenue gap. That's the gap that you have to close to get to your revenue. All right. These are the 4 things that you have to do to close that revenue gap using the 700,000 as an example. Now, I want you to set in your mind what your goal is. So if you're at 250 and you want to get to 500K, or if you're at 1 mil and you want to get to 2 million, you set that in your mind while I use this example. Okay, the 4 steps are frequency, referral, average ticket, and price. Let's start with the first one, frequency. What does that even mean? That means how many times your customers buy from you throughout the year. So let's use a restaurant as an example. Now I'm going to be teaching you for HVAC, plumbing, and electrical, but let's use a restaurant. Let's say you have regular customers and your customers typically come in once a month, your regulars. That means the frequency of purchases at your restaurant is 12. Each customer typically buys 12 times from you. If you want to increase that and double your money, all you'd have to do is get them to come in instead of once a month, twice a month, and that would double your revenue. You see how easy that is? So it's easy to plan. Instead of saying, oh, I want to double my income and go from 1 million to 2 million, you can say, I want my customers, instead of coming in once a month, I need to get them to come in twice a month. That's the first move that you're going to make. Remember, there's 3 other moves I'm going to teach you. So the first thing you're going to do is figure out how often do people buy from you. You may know that number off the top of your head, but we want to get good, hard results. If you're using ServiceTitan or House Call Pro or Breezy, what you need to do is pull all of your customer data. You can go in and pull a report, pull a jobs report of all the jobs that you've done since you've been in business. Make sure the date is on there. Make sure the address, the customer name, and the customer email and everything's on there. You're going to download that and put that into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT, how many times do customers buy from you every year? All right. Now, I did that in my company before I made this video. Typically, my frequency is 1.6 times. So my customers buy from me about twice per year. Now, if I want to bring them back in, I want to increase that. For this example, I want to increase that to 3 times per year, right? That's a 37% frequency increase, going from 1.6 to 3. ChatGPT helped me with that math, okay? Now, if my average ticket is $800, and if I can get my customers to come in not 1.6 times a year, but 3 times a year, let's see what that does to my gap. So for this example, if I said I wanted to go from 1 million to 1.7 million, and I have a $700,000 gap because that's a difference that I want to grow. If I get my customers to come in just one more time per year, that closed the $300,000 gap based on my customer average ticket of $800. Okay. I put some of my data in here. If your average ticket is $400, it's going to be a little bit less, but that's going to lead us to one of the other moves. Okay. So you see how powerful this is. A couple ways that you can get your customers to come in more than once. I'm going to cover that in one of my other courses. I have a course on this. It's called FRAP, Frequency, Referrals, Average Ticket, and Price. I have a full-blown course. But for this video, let's go through a couple things. One, you need to sell maintenance plans. If you're not selling maintenance plans, you can increase your frequency very quickly. You have a tremendous ability to grow your company because people will stop calling you only when their thing breaks, but they're going to call you twice per year and when it breaks, which is automatically going to add 2 trips. One way that I do that is through these maintenance brochures that we hand out constantly that tell the benefits of maintenances. We sell maintenance on every service call, and that gets us in the home twice, right? So that's just one quick example. But you see how easy this is. And this closed a $300,000 gap. We're not even close to the end of this video. We haven't run an ad, no Facebook ads, no fancy SEO, none of that stuff that you blow money on and waste money on, right? It's a waste of money to do all that stuff if you're not doing this stuff, right? All that other stuff is the cherry on top. So we increase our frequency. We close a $300,000 gap right there. Amazing. Now let's talk about referrals because we always talk about word of mouth, right? We all have word of mouth. What happens if we increase our referrals? By asking for them, making a point to ask customers for referrals, adding that to our text message drip campaigns, our email campaigns, going to networking groups like BNI and the Chamber of Commerce, passing referrals to other people, meeting other trades companies, giving them referrals. Givers gain, right? You give and you get. You give referrals, people tend to give them back. You don't give referrals, you tend to not get as many referrals. What if you start taking some of the money that you're giving to Google and Facebook and making these guys like Zuckerberg and all them super insanely rich? Instead of doing that, you pass that money to your customers and you actually help families. So you say, hey, instead of running and giving $50 per lead to Angie's List or something, I'm going to give you $50 if you refer one of your friends. Now you're helping your community, you're helping your customers financially, you're helping a local family. It's amazing. What happens if doing that increases your referrals just 5%? Okay. Now we just closed the gap. Let's see, pretty much another 50K. Almost, right? Boom, right there. Just increasing our referrals adds another 50, 60K just right away, just by asking. Saying, hey, I'll give you $25 every time you refer and it becomes a repair. I'll give you $50 if it turns into a ductwork change out, and I'll give you $100 if it becomes a complete system replacement, right? People are moved by money, and you're helping people. You're helping your community. Now, let's talk about average ticket. In this example, I put an average ticket of $800. What if I increase my average ticket? We're not even talking about increasing prices yet. If I increase my average ticket, let's say I have an accessory sheet, something like this, where we hand out on service calls and we upsell. You see it in restaurants all the time. Oh, would you like dessert? They may have beverages and then they have their fancy lemonades. So you can get a Coke for $2 and get one of their fancy lemonades for $5. That's increasing the ticket. Every time someone comes in, we'll use the restaurant example, they come in once a month, they spend $25 each. What if on that once a month, I can get them to spend $35 each? Because I'm going to upsell them on something. That's why restaurants give you a menu. There's lots of things on there with lots of different prices. One person may just order a water. The other person may get the dessert. They may get the appetizer. They get the fancy lemonade, and then they get the whatever, and then they get something shareable. If you give a menu and you have an option, something that you can hand out, it has a lot of options on there. Some people are going to buy more. That's not pushy sales. We all hate pushy sales. We don't want to become salesmen. But if I offer you something and give you options and you choose those options, that's helping the customer because they may want some of those things. If you don't offer them and they don't know it exists, you may be robbing your customer of something that they like. So let's say I increase my average ticket from $800 to $880 because I started offering more things and people started buying them. That would be a 10% increase on my average ticket. Wow, I had a $700,000 gap. Remember the example? This example was going from 1 million to 1.7 million. Now we're only at a gap of 234,000. This already increased the revenue from 1 to 1.5, right? You get what I'm saying here? You get what I'm doing? All right, now let's talk about price. Raise your prices is pretty easy. It's pretty much the easiest thing you can do, right? And you have to remember, every customer is not your customer. So if you have the mindset that you want to win every job, you're not going to be able to increase your prices. You're not going to win every job. As a matter of fact, if you increase your prices, you're going to have less customers and you're going to make more money with less customers to have to deal with, right? If you're watching this video, you probably have amazing customer service. People that want to increase their business and learn the business side typically are really good technicians and they believe in customer service, right? Because if you didn't care about your customers and you didn't care about your business, you wouldn't be watching this. So the easiest way to increase your price is to make sure you're offering more value than anyone else. I believe in being 2 times better than everyone else to justify the prices that I have to charge. So what if I increase my prices by 10% today and I make everything else better? In this example, just by these 4 moves alone, I've increased my business in this example from 1 million to 1.6 million without running an ad, without going to Google, without doing anything other than focusing on my existing customers. And there's a lot of things you can do to increase frequency. You can set a text message campaign. You can start running your email newsletter. You can start sponsoring local sports teams. That'll bring in referrals, right? Your average ticket, you can start offering more things, start educating people, taking more time in the house, not trying to rush to 7 or 8 calls a day, doing less calls a day, taking more time in the house, finding more things on health, safety, efficiency that you can educate your customers on, and they can start to pick on that menu what they want. No waiter feels bad when a customer comes in and orders 10 things off the menu. They did that. You just offered it. You're not telling them about things they don't need. You're giving them options, explaining to them, and they're saying, I want that, that, and that. That raises your average ticket. You're taking more time. You're backing up your work. You're being ethical, and that justifies a better price. All your technicians are background checked. You show up when you say you will. That's worth a higher price. Frequency, referrals, average ticket price. These are the 4 moves to grow your business. Make sure that you watch the other videos. I have an entire course on this. If you're interested, just reach out to me in the comments. Also, in our school group, you can join that. The link is right there at the bottom. We put all of these videos and all the extra ones that I don't post in the public in there. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.